Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
Paulo Cruz is back here.
I'm back.
With yours truly and Katie Linendoll, of course. And we were just talking about you showing up. I mean, last time we talked to you, it was in the Performance Center.
Yeah.
Today, you're at Axxess, and you are a sharp-dressed man.
Very smooth.
Thank you.
He's got the little Ralph Lauren here, little diamonds on the ears.
You know, I didn't spend too much money on it. You know, I'm not a huge spender, but.
But you were saying your pop used to tell you.
Yeah, he used to tell me one day I need clothes like this. He's like, you don't have any dress clothes in your closet. I was like, nah, I'll be fine. I'd wear sweats and t-shirt. I'll be good. And he's like, oh, trust me, that day's gonna come. And then I look at my closet now, and that day came.
Casual.
Yeah, I got all business casual stuff in my closet.
Right. Do you think that, like, you're sitting there like, I'm going to be a wrestler. If you work out enough, you don't ever have to dress up. You just wear your gym clothes.
That's what I thought. And that's what I was used to. Like when I was on the Indies, I'd travel in sweats and a hat and, it's a pair of sneakers. That's all I really put money to was sneakers before. And now it's like you got to be more presentable, which I understand. It comes with growing up. When I was a kid, I didn't really see stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, and he always told me people are gonna judge you on the way that you dress, and I was like, if they judge me, let them judge me. But now I see, I see what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So it's he's a smart guy, and that is one I will give him and say he's right. Probably the only one though.
Has he been watching your NXT wrestling?
He does. He lives in I think it's Ethiopia right now. I don't think they get he gets to watch it live all the time, but he does keep up with it as much as he can. Even when I was on the Indies, he'd keep up with me. He was against it at first, but he still watched. And now he's.
You tell him, do you see how good I look in trunks? You think I need slacks?
I'm like, dude, I need more work in my midsection or what? But he's very supportive now.
He's had an interesting. That was probably one of the coolest things that we learned about you in the Performance Center. His job.
Yeah. United Nations, yeah.
Dang, man. And now, he's in Ethiopia now, but you say it like he could be floating around.
No, he does. That's how I was growing up with him. So when I was born in Sacramento, he got a job. He got an offer with World Bank and United Nations. He took United Nations. We had to move from Sacramento to Atlanta after he got done working at the CDC in Atlanta. Then we moved to Kenya. 3 years later, we're moving to Uganda.
Whoa.
3 years later, we're back here with my mom after they separated, and he's still moving around like that. I think from then I can't even tell you where he's been. He's been to like a few different places, and now he ends up in Ethiopia.
I've spent time in Kenya and a little time in Uganda.
Yeah.
What a shift, though.
Yeah.
You can't even put into words.
You can't. Yeah.
Going from there to here. I mean, totally different lifestyle change.
Completely different worlds. They're still kind of, as far as technology and development, they're still kind of behind. Especially at that time. And it's funny because like we're so much further ahead with technology now than back then when I was living with it. So I can only imagine. What it's like now. I'm sure they're further ahead, but back then, when we didn't even have like iPhones and stuff like that, I was such a young kid that I don't really realize, the things how different it was. I guess you could say, yeah. So
and maybe that's
cool.
Maybe that's what's led to your perspective on life in general.
Yeah.
Because every time you've talked to us, smiling, positive perspective. When I see you on TV, you appear to have a positive perspective. Then we spoke to other wrestlers privately. It's like, we got to figure it out.
Right.
And they even said, when he came in, I won't tell you who it was, but he said when he came in, he was smiling and he was like thinking, okay, we'll wait till it fades away. Like he's putting on an act right now.
Right.
But everybody just keeps saying that this is
it's still going.
You all the time. How do you maintain that? Because so many people in this business become so bitter so quickly, and
I really don't. I think my mom growing up was always a positive person. She always has a smile on her face. I think me just having so many life experiences and traveling around before I was traveling by myself, I think it kind of just like opened my eyes and I realized what else is out there. And I'm like, man, I wake up and I get to come to Axxess. It's 5 a.m. I'm sure everybody rather say, but at the end of the day, someone's life out there is it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, a lot worse. I'm at Axxess in WrestleMania, and not just that. I work for the biggest company in the world, and I think I go into everything with the positive outlook. I feel like if I go into it with a negative thought, I've already defeated myself, and I'm already setting myself up to not enjoy it. Like if I came in here this morning, like I don't want to do this, I'm tired. It wouldn't be any fun, but.
It is amazing how quickly people lose perspective on the fact that their dreams came true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that does go away quick, but I think a lot of things in the end of the day don't turn out how you originally planned it to. So when it doesn't turn out how you pictured it in your head and you set such a high expectation for it, it kind of, you feel let down.
Well, speaking of that, like as far as your place right now in NXT, so your matches with Elias Sampson at TakeOver, and they've done. And we were talking about this the other day. They've done a great job of making every match at TakeOver matter and mean something, and there's a story behind it. But when you got to NXT, what were your expectations? Were you like, let's just see what happens? Were you like, I'm going to propel straight to the world title match? I don't know.
I didn't expect that. And the funny thing is, I was actually a year after my tryout, I was actually wrestling for the NXT title. And like I said before, I didn't come in here thinking that anybody would have a clue who I was. I didn't know that the indie wrestling fans were the same as the WWE or NXT wrestling fans. And when I got the reception I did, it kind of was like, whoa,
Right.
I just expected to come out to, most few people know who this guy is, but majority of them who watch NXT, we'll see what this guy can do. But it was amazing being able to come out there and have that kind of reception. I came in here with an open mind. I think the experience that I had before this helped me kind of adapt and transition into the NXT style, and it helped me because, thrown in some situations where if I didn't know what I was doing, it'd be kind of I wouldn't be able to, perform to the level that I did. But I think with me having the experience, I was able to kind of knock the ball out the park.
And is that what you have to do, like realize, number one, it's a long road. We don't need to rush to get anywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
And number two, like let's take a look at every spot and say, okay, well, what is the advantages to being here? Like, wait a minute, I have this thing right here, and I can do this now. Yeah. Which I couldn't do before.
For sure, yeah. I'm like I said, I'm not in a hurry to get anywhere. I feel like if I start focusing too much on what's next, then I'll forget about what's going on right now.
Right.
So
what in the what's
going on?
There
right
was
there?
10 things awesome about
like
that.
It's haunted.
Maybe 11.
Axxess is
12.
haunted. I don't know. There's an evil
What's going
spirit
on here?
that
Yeah,
just walked in here.
I'm not sure what's going on. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Which
Got
is
freaked out a little bit.
It's the same thing in broadcasting. You have to expect anything.
Right.
And be able to go with it.
You got to just go with the flow.
That's right.
Just go. Oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is going on?
I'm not sure what's going on here.
There's a darkness that is spreading over.
And then he's chugging a sugar-free Red Bull, which just I have now even more respect for.
I had one of those myself. I don't think it gave me the energy I needed, though, but I'm still wide awake. It's all good.
What is it like, going back to Sam's point? I was just down in Fort Pierce watching one of the smaller shows a few weeks ago. And do you like that environment?
Yeah, I do. For me, that's it has a very indie feel to it to me. You know what I mean? Those kind of shows, and you're more intimate with the people who support us so much. We get to
Power blew out. It was fantastic.
I was there. I didn't know you were there for that one.
Random show,
During Mojo's
right?
match, right? Yeah. Yeah, that
that was the second show that we've been to where power has blown out. Because Albany, you weren't.
Oh,
you
no,
weren't in
the first Albany show?
Yeah, the first Albany show.
Power went out that building.
Power
too?
went out, and
oh, wow.
Balor had to come out to everybody in the audience singing his music because there was no. But so talk about when the power went out.
Well, and those moments are so incredible because we were talking yesterday about just being able to see you in that environment and how big you are, and maybe it's lost on you, but you get such an intimate experience with NXT. Yeah. And I hope that continues. Yeah. I hope people get to experience like Sam and I have.
That's why I'm glad we get to do those because, like I said, I can go out there and talk. After I can't say I have a full conversation with them, but talk. This is a little girl. Her name's Alex. She comes to most of the shows, and she'll have like an Apollo Nation sign. Cutest girl ever, man. And every time I see her, brings a smile to my face. And for me to be able to just stop for a few minutes and take a picture with her after the match, something I couldn't do on, at TakeOver or something like that. For me, I think that's amazing because then, her parents would tweet me and say, I made her day or something like that. And that to me is a better feeling than walking out there in front of 10,000 people, you know what I mean? So for me, that's amazing.
Mentally, when do you get to the place that maybe in your head, the idea of wrestling in front of 200 people is not a foreign concept because you spent so long on the indies, but to Katie, or whoever is the mainstream fan that's sitting there with that perspective, because I think that's important, that's sitting there going whoa, what's Apollo doing in front of a crowd like this? And you're sitting there going this is my livelihood.
Right, that's what I was saying. I think...
do you still not really quite get that people don't view you the way
I view myself? I say, I see myself as... for example, we were walking down the street yesterday to go eat at wherever we went, and people stopped me. Oh, Apollo. And I'm like, you want to take a picture of me?
Have we met before?
Yeah, what? And dang, yeah. NXT, so it's kind of like I still don't see myself like that. I'm just I can't. I don't know if that day will ever come. and I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but it's crazy because I think my dad looks at it like that still too. He's like, you go to shows and you set up the ring, you take down the ring, and you wrestle in front of 200 people. It's like, so what's changed from before you got here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, and you drive to the shows too, and I'm like, well, I get to be at Axxess.
You know, isn't that great to have a dad that's like outside the business altogether? Yeah. So he's like on a logical level. He's like, he's doing the same thing.
Exactly, and he doesn't understand it completely.
He's like, you need me to send money? He's real confused.
I used to ask that like all the time, and I think I got to the point where now it's like I haven't asked him for anything for a few years now, and I think he kind of, I don't know if he misses that feeling or he's actually like, thank God it's over. But I haven't asked, you know, now I realize I've finally got to the point where it's like, it took a while, but it finally got to the point where it's like I'm my own man, I'd pay my own bills, I take care of myself.
Is that the landmark? Because you were saying before he didn't approve before, he approves now. Is the landmark, I can pay my bills?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and I got my own car now, and I think before it was like, okay, I'm wrestling, but there's no profit coming out of it or anything, and I'm just still, hey, Dad, yeah, I got borrowed like a couple $100, you know, and it's I think that was the thing. It's like, okay, well, you know, are you really going to make this, or are you just like,
right?
And I think what he wanted me to do was go try it out, and he'll be like, okay, once you fall flat on your face, you're going to realize I was right, and then that's going to be into that, and then
having to work for that, though, is that's where your character comes from.
Exactly,
that's where the whole whole vibe. When you appreciate things more, when you have to work for it.
When you have to actually work from instead of it just being handed to you. I think that's how it was my whole life. I never complained about hard work. I never wanted anything just to be handed to me because I feel like I wouldn't care for it. You know what I mean? When you work hard for it, you know, and it's like I bought my first car and I cherish it. You know, now I see what my dad was talking about when he got me my car. And he's like, if you don't take care of it, blah 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 blah. And now I cherish my car. I'm like, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna wash it.
You're not gonna take it for granted. You're not like this like 16-year-old who was given a car for his birthday.
Yeah, exactly. I've worked hard for it, and I know the value of it now. So it's very different.
So what's your dad gonna say? Because obviously it's not full circle for him because NXT guys are getting action figures.
Yeah.
NXT guys are in video games.
For sure.
So like when you're in a video game, when there's an Apollo action figure in Toys R Us, like is your dad gonna be like,
I think it'll hopefully
did they make a mistake?
Yeah. When are you gonna be the main event of WrestleMania or something? You know what I mean?
It's like everybody has an action figure, you know?
right. I think, you know, I think he's genuinely proud. You know, it just he's proud. You know, it took a while for him to get there, but I think he's there, and I hope one day he gets to come. Like I wish he could come here and watch something like this, but he works so much and so hard all the time. But I think once he gets to experience something like this and see all the people and hear them chanting, you know, for me during my time or whatever, I think he'll realize like just how far I've come.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. And if anything, I mean, just have him walk around with you.
Yeah.
So he can witness the picture taking and all that. How do you feel, because, you know, you still view yourself in that same way that you had always viewed yourself before you were here. But one thing Katie and I were talking about is the difference in being here versus doing indie shows is weekly TV means figuring out a character and telling these stories and doing this. Is that something that is foreign to you, or because you grew up a wrestling fan, you always had that mind?
I think it is, especially when the word character comes into play. Because I was asked this question not too long ago: is like who are you? You know what I mean?
Right.
And for me, that is the hardest question to answer.
Right. Because you're Uha Nation. Wrong.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm a guy hardworking guy who, you know, come out here and I'm friendly when it's time to compete. And if you push me to the limit, I get mad, and that's, you know. But really, I feel like people can you really relate to that? You know what I mean? Or does that really define who I am? So I feel like for me that is the hardest question that I've been asked. But I think once I figure that out, I think the rest will take care of itself.
Because it almost, like these days, it almost goes beyond who is Apollo Crews, and you ask, what is an Apollo Crews? You know what I mean? Like, what is this thing that I'm supporting? So that's, like, as far as goals go, right now, that's what you're trying to
figure out who or what Apollo Crews is. And I think that helps you adapt to any situation, because it could be like, okay, if I'm put in this situation, what would Apollo do as a character?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, I can figure that out. Or if I'm put here, what would Apollo do? And if I know myself, I know exactly how to react in each situation.
I mean, almost if it's, and it is such an important thing, especially in NXT, where kind of characters and gimmicks and stuff like that have really caused, and it's bled over to WWE.
For sure.
Had a resurgence. It's almost like you have to do an acting workshop, and figure out the backstory of your character and where were you born and what did you buy. And
it's funny, we did this drill. Howard Fine came in. He's a well-known acting coach. I think he helped Will Smith with concussion and a bunch of other people. So it's cool. He's coming has to do this emotional recall, and he just wanted us to get in touch with like a certain emotion, or just to be able to put ourselves in a certain emotional place and then be able to turn it off like that, which relates to wrestling, because
absolutely
sometimes we need to go to a certain level of emotion, whether it's for a match or for a promo or whatever, and then the next minute, all right, now we got to be back to who we are.
Yeah.
I just fear you're going to be the happiest heel ever.
I think
But you know what?
people
I
love
want
me.
to tell
People
all you
love me
fans.
and hate me all at the same time. Then
I don't know about that.
I want to tell all you fans, I hate you all. You're a waste of time, and I'm just happy to be here.
But I feel like that'll make people mad though. Kind of. It's like, I'm happy. Why is this guy so happy? Why is he smiling?
Right. We're talking to New Day about that. Like when they first jumped on the scene, it was like, we want to make your lives better. You suck.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, I know I suck, but I'm going to make your life better. You know what I mean?
Right, whether you want me to or
I feel like
not.
that guy's like the most annoying person ever. Like the guy like who just knows he's better than everybody.
The Instagram quoter, like
coming
up like Monday motivation.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm not following this guy anymore. Like the fitness guy, man. I got to unfollow all those people.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
a
that would
whole
be-
bunch of motivational stuff.
That'd be great if you're one of those like awful football players that just has no knowledge of anything but just says,
Just
like, create
right.
your destiny.
Right. It's like, this guy has no clue what he's talking about. right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What better guy to hate though?
Is there? Yeah, really. When you have like an acting coach come in, and obviously, I think there's stuff going on at the Performance Center that we don't even really fathom to what levels stuff is being worked on. Do you or other guys that took the route that you did, going to gyms, sleeping in cars, blah, 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 sit around and be like, I'm a wrestler. Like, what does this mean? Like, does everything click right away, or do you sometimes get to a class and go like, why, what?
No, I think sometimes it takes a little while, because at first I was kind of thrown off with the class, and I was like, I'm not going to give this my full. But I think going into that, giving it your full attention and 100%, you actually come out benefiting from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Even like when we go to Performance Center 6 days a week. You know what I mean? And some guys will get complacent, but I feel like you can't let yourself get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there, just put your head down and work hard, and at the end of the day, you get your rest. You know what I mean? I think it's hard. It gets repetitive. It's redundant, and it especially when you don't see a lot of development on the TV side. For some people,
Yes.
I think it is, but sticking it through, and realizing like there's a bigger picture and there's a reason why they're holding you back or making you do certain things, and it's all, they're looking at the bigger picture. It's not just about us individually, but us as a unit. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes it's just putting your head down and pushing forward.
And I think it's also like the idea of not forgetting that your dream's coming true.
Yeah.
Is that sort of like first day mentality,
Yeah.
like just maintaining,
Yeah.
like when you walk in, I don't care if
Man.
you're an indie guy, if you're a
Oof.
football player, if
Yeah.
you're a bodybuilder,
Right.
like when you walk into the Performance Center,
There's nothing like that first day.
the first day, when
Right.
and then if you're a wrestling guy, it's even better because
Yeah.
you're like Norman Smiley's over
Yeah, you got
there,
the
and
coaches.
Terry Taylor's over
You know,
there.
and you got guys that are willing to pass this knowledge down to you, and they want to help you and want to see you succeed. We're set up for success.
Right, but
You know
it's
what
like, but something does happen when you see him 6 days a week. All of a sudden, it's like
it's kind of like you what's the word I'm looking for? You get complacent and I don't know what I'm looking for, but you get like just kind of like, oh, it's
Jaded
there.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like, it's there. I'm not, it's there when I need it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you take it for granted, I guess is what I
yeah,
would say.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't
And is that
realize how
so?
helpful it is.
You actively fight that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it gets like that every now and then, but I'm like I take steps back, and I'm like, wait, how lucky am I really?
Right.
And then realizing something like this, I get to, even though we're busy, I kind of get to reset my batteries, and kind of when I go in, back when we get back to work, I'm like, okay, so this is what we're working for.
Yeah, totally.
This is like what we get to experience. Going out in front of 10,000 people, hearing that reaction is why we're here every day. You know what I mean? So those kind of things keep me motivated, and it's fun to be a part of these kind of things.
And at the end of the day, your dad doesn't think you're a colossal failure.
Exactly.
That's not
exactly.
a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I could be still working at Delta, stacking bags on a plane. So.
Is that what you did?
I did do that.
What hub?
I was in Atlanta, the busiest airport in the world.
How do those bags? How do they get lost so often?
Those-
Like, were you throwing them on the wrong plane?
No.
Like,
See,
what?
the bag guy, the driver brings them to our plane. I just stacked them on the bag. So sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'll see a bag like fall off of a tug, and the guy will just keep driving.
There's no way to have any idea. So they're just gonna throw that on a plane.
Yeah, they'll reroute the bag and it'll eventually get to you. But like, They're a lot better with that. I haven't, and I don't know, I'll knock on something, but I've been fortunate enough not to ever have my bag lost. So, and they do a decent job with getting it back to you.
But you never check your gear. That's the rule, right?
Oh, never. That imagine coming here to WrestleMania. It's like, hey, yeah, we lost your gear bag.
Right.
It's like, what?
You come to the ring in like Baron Corbin's old tights or something.
Right. I'm like, I had to borrow some. Why is it so long? I mean, I'm trying something new.
Well, you've come a long way. This is a good time to be Apollo Crews,
For sure.
I think.
Definitely. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's good talking to you, man.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks
you
for
too,
hanging
guys.
out.
Always. It's always fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Katie.
Hey, it's Sam Roberts. I hope you enjoyed that wrestling interview from Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. You can go to notsam.com to subscribe to that podcast. But I upload videos like that on this YouTube channel all the time. So if you don't already subscribe now. It's on the side of the page. I made it real easy. Click the button. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page.